We can concentrate now on detailing the body. How far you take this is up to you. Brassmasters give you just about everything. You'll see I don't always fit every last bit, but certainly bits that are very, very highly visual and worth improving, then we'll do. This front coupling, for instance, is pretty naff. So let's dispose of that. It's just a plastic little moulding, so out with the Zurons and ping. Now, I'm rather hoping that this will just poke out. If it doesn't, then we'll have to drill it. Look at that. It's gone. And that's left us with a slot in the buffer beam. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes the adhesive that held the coupling in is very, very strong and it won't go and you'll have to drill it. So do bear that in mind. I've been very, very fortunate today. Here we have a Romford / Jackson replacement available now from markets. Now you can spring these. I never bother because this Black 5 won't be doing any towing tender first anyway. And that should just fit in. Of course it doesn't. It's a little bit on the tight side, but in a way that might be an advantage. So first of all, let's make our job easier by lopping a little bit off. Because I'm not going to spring this, we don't need anywhere near this length of coupling. So I'm just lopping a bit off. And that pings into oblivion. Clamp it in our vise. And just file a bit down. Don't take too much off in one go. We want it to remain a friction fit. So having filed a bit off the top, for good measure we'll file a bit off the bottom. This isn't supplied by Brassmasters in fairness, but it's one thing you can take a little stage further. Just take off any burr on that. As I say, this doesn't have to operate. It will work even if it's not sprung. I think sometimes the springing is unnecessary. Perfect. Now, let's go back to our slightly gooey super glue. Tend to use a bit more than you actually need, and then introduce that to the rear. And because it's just about a friction fit, that won't go anywhere. Obviously don't let too much come through and gum up the coupling. You're given replacement vacuum standpipes, but that's pretty neat from Hornby. And also look again, I've lost that little lamp bracket, which is a pity. I don't know where it went. It's very, very delicate. I have to replace that. One thing I'm going to equip this locomotive with is the automatic warning system, AWS, and that was attached to the bogie on prototype locomotives. And in order to stop the coupling clattering the striker that was in the middle of the bogie, a bang plate or a protection plate was fitted, and that's what's supplied by Brassmasters. Very neat, very accurate. But one modification is I have soldered a little piece of 0.45 nickel silver wire to the back of that, and to make sure it doesn't fall off. You try and just glue that without this piece of wire, it'll just break off. So I just need to drill a tiny little hole to accommodate that, and that's in the center of the buffer beam below the coupling. There isn't much meat on the plastic here, so we'll have to be very, very careful. But it's just about there. Very, very carefully. Until you reach the coupling, actually. And then that will just fit really neatly in there. They're usually protruded at a slight angle to make sure the coupling got nowhere near the striker. So let's position that because it sticks to my fingers. Without that bit of wire, it would be hopeless. Hornby also give you these steps which need to be fitted, and they can be done at the same time. So again, you can introduce it directly to the super glue, but just be careful you don't want too much. Like that. If you get too much, then just blot it off. And they very, very conveniently give you little slots for those to go in, and they fit in. This is very much fit it and then leave it alone, because it's not a friction fit. As usual in this game, once you're happy with the fit of those, leave them alone. Don't fiddle about now. Just leave those to set. There are other bits and pieces for you to fit. The exhaust steam ejector goes behind the right-hand side, the fireman's side, footstep, in this manner, and I'll glue that on as soon as this is dry. That will be fitted there, again with the gooey super glue. And the various bits and pieces for the AWS, the large reservoir and the small reservoir. Now, before we leave this, can you make note of this, please? This is, I'm making a new drawbar, as I explained. Now, this is just a piece of nickel silver wire into 2 pre-drilled holes and bent, 0.45 wire, bent round so there's no way that it's coming out. That's going to be the first part, the hook part of my drawbar, my replacement for the Hornby pattern. But really now I need to leave this alone so that this thoroughly sets, and the next bit we're going to tackle is how to improve the tender.